Today I'm going to show you how to wire up your twin R8 receiver in your PA-18. This is assuming you have a reflex and you're going to keep it, and I'm going to show you a couple of ways to wire it up. So the first way to wire it up is to run all 5 leads that are coming out of the side of the reflex here, and these are all labeled. So channel 1 is your aileron, and the reflex has channel 1, and the twin R8 has a channel 1. So channel 1 through 5, they're all going to just go in there. I know channel 5 on the reflex is marked S.BUS PPM mode. That's not going to go into the S.BUS out on the receiver this time. That's just going to go into channel 5. So right here, act as if that's 1 through 5 and install them 1 through 5. Make sure the wires are going the right way. If you notice on the reflex, all the orange wires are up. The red wires in the middle, the brown wires are down. That is important to follow and keep that same principle going on here on the twin R8. So channel 1 is going to go here. Channel 2 is elevator. Channel 3 is throttle. Channel 4 is rudder. And channel 5 is the wire that says S.BUS PPM mode on it. And that'll go there. So now you've got channel 1 through 5 all wired in. The airplane will also come with a tri-harness that says flaps on it, and that will go into channel 6. And getting in that last channel might be a little tight. These tend to be just a tiny bit wide, so they almost flare out once you get all 6 channels in there. But they do fit. Make sure they're all in all the way. And that's about what it should look like. All right, and then the only other feature that we have that needs to get plugged into the receiver is your reverse thrust. That's coming off your ESC. It's this yellow wire. So your ESC that says THRO on it has 3 wires, black, red, and white, and there's a 4th wire, a yellow one, and it's got this little pin on the end of it, or a plug, and that's going to go into channel 7 in the top pin. So you see 3 pins here. The bottom is ground, middle is positive, and the top is signal. We only need the signal wire, and make sure you line it up with channel 7. So channel 7 in the top pin, and you can just insert that in, and that's it. And that'll engage your reverse thrust when you hit your reverse thrust switch. So as far as wiring the receiver itself, that's complete and done. We don't need to do any other steps there. You can go ahead and put some Velcro on the bottom of it or a zip tie or something and mount that anywhere you want in the plane. It's not a stabilized receiver, so it doesn't have to be in a specific position, but you do want to make sure that your antennas, when they're in the plane, are 90 degrees to each other, like so. We don't want antennas crisscrossing or anything like this. We want to make sure that they face away from each other at 90 degrees. So you can run one out the top of the plane upward like this, and one straight back if you want, or one sideways and straight back, or one out the bottom of the plane and straight back, something along those lines for best signal reception. On the reflex itself, we've got it wired to the receiver. So if you got the RTF or you've already wired up your rudder and elevator and your ailerons, then you're good to go. No other steps are needed as far as wiring for the receiver. If you haven't already plugged in your rudder and elevator, those wires are going to come from the back of the airplane when you put the fuselage together. One of them will be marked rudder coming from the back. I know this is just a servo extension, just giving you an example. And when you plug that in, you'll be looking into the plane this direction. You'll want to see the brown wire when you plug that in, and the rudder is going to be the one on the far right. So you go ahead and insert that. You may need to use needle nose pliers to get that in. And then here we go, is a servo. This one is marked ELEV for elevator. That's also going to be coming from the back of the plane, and that goes into the second slot when you're looking at it from the front of the plane looking in. You'll see this tri-harness is already plugged in on the far left. Then the elevator goes in the second one. Your throttle is already plugged in the third one, and rudder goes into the 4th one. Then you have this tri-harness for your ailerons. You've got yellow, red, and brown on all these wires. Make sure when you plug in your servo lead, I'm just going to use this one as an example. This one also has yellow, red, and brown. Make sure when you plug them in, you line them up correctly so that they look like this, where it's yellow on top, brown, brown. They need to match, and they need to be plugged in all the way. These little flares here, lock them into place to help prevent them from pulling out on their own. All right, so once you get your ailerons plugged in, there's only 2 of them. One will come from each wing. The third one is for your lights. The lights are only going to have a red and black wire, something like this, only it'll have a black plug on top. Just line up your black wire and red wire when you put it in here, and your lights will turn on. If you cross these over or put them in backwards, the lights either won't turn on, or it'll also make the channel for the servos not work for your ailerons. Same thing goes with your flaps. This tri-harness, 2 are for your flaps. The flaps that come out of the wings are marked, so they'll go into flaps. Make sure the wires are matching, yellow with yellow. And then the third one is for your lights out of one of the other wings. And so just line up red and black with the red and brown. So in simple terms here, these just go channels 1 through 5, your standard wiring for the airplane, and your reverse thrust goes into channel 7. The other way to wire it up is using S.BUS. The way that would work is you would remove channels 1 through 5 from the receiver, leaving channel 6 and your channel 7 reverse thrust. You can actually remove them out of the reflex as well if you would like, channels 1 through 4, leaving your S.BUS cable and plugging this into S.BUS out on the receiver. Now you've eliminated 4 wires and simplified things. Everything will still work exactly the same way. It will just be controlled through S.BUS now for all of your reflex modes and channels and control. But as far as the plane goes, that's the other way to do it, and it is very simple.